I haven't used Microsoft WordPad since I was a kid. So hopefully this video is not going to be very cringe. But it's generally a question that I have towards progressive people, right? So what do progressive people want? What do left-leaning, decent, Marxist academics want? The thing they want the most is equity, right? Like they want a world where wealth inequality goes away. So how do they do that in a democratic country? Well, with various programs. Like, for example, a very common program that a lot of progressive use is raising minimum wage. Alright, so you raise the minimum wage artificially, let's say to $8 an hour. Now, what this actually does is that anyone who can't perform a job that is worth more than $8 an hour is going to be unemployed. So, for example, if you're a burger flipper at McDonald's, and there is now a machine that can do your job cheaper, well, McDonald's is going to prefer to use automation rather than hire your ass. So you're going to have like a lot of teenagers, a lot of young people with no skill who are unable to perform a job that is worth at least $8 an hour, and they're going to find themselves unemployed. What happened at the workplace that I worked when Romania decided to increase minimum wage, a lot of people got fired, and the ones that remained had to do the job of 2 people. But not only that, the company then decided to increase costs in order to cover for the extra wages. So raising minimum wage, what it does is that it causes unemployment, and it also causes higher prices for the consumer. Now, that's okay, right? Because we're a progressive government and we can fix this. So we actually have smart people at the academia which have a solution for unemployment and higher prices. And the solution for this is welfare. Right? So we're just going to now give people money if they can't find a job, or if they can't afford the cost of living. That's okay. We're going to give them money. But the problem is that while the government can print money, it can't print stuff. It can't print real world shit. And this is what people actually want. They want real world stuff. They want food. They want smartphones. They want computers. They want cars. They want real tangible things. They don't want paper. So the government can print the paper, but it can't print the actual stuff. So what it actually does is it takes stuff away from some people and gives it to others through taxation, right? Like this is where the government say we need to raise taxes. So it starts raising taxes on the rich, right? We're going to tax the 1%. But what ends up happening is that the world isn't like a chessboard. The pieces, they move themselves in order to minimize loss for them. It's just human nature. So what ends up happening is when you raise taxes, the rich are going to either try to find loopholes, that they're going to hire an army of lawyers in order to figure out loopholes to not pay the taxes, or they're just going to simply leave. So we see this happening in nations that go full socialism, when it goes really bad, like Venezuela. It happened with the Soviet Union. This is one of the advantages of being rich, is that you can simply leave. You can take away all your stuff and go somewhere else. So now that there are no more rich people, you don't have investors. So if you don't have investors, then now businesses start closing. This is what happens in certain American cities and ghettos. This is what happened in places like Detroit. It's like the rich just leave, and now there's no more businesses. Now you have high crime rates. Now you have even more poverty than before. So some governments, like some socialist governments, decides that in order to avoid businesses closing, which is caused by the capital flight, they are going to come up with the concept of nationalization, right? So they're going to nationalize businesses. This is where socialism happens. This is exactly where they talk about, all right, now we need socialism to fix the issues that we initially created. But the problem is that when they nationalize businesses, like what actually happens is that the government gives the businesses away to some people. Because at the end of the day, you know, on paper, it's called nationalizing or whatever, but it's still a business that's run by a human being. Now, initially, that human being was the owner of the business, who had a vested interest for the business to profit so that he can make more money. Like, the system was operating on the greed of the business owner. Now, the business owner gets to be a friend with the guy in charge, a friend with the politician, or someone that helped the politician at one stage. So what you end up happening is that all the businesses now are being given to people not on basis of merit, but on nepotism, ideology, being subservient to the cause. This is going to cause ineffective management. So ineffective management leads to businesses not able to produce. So now you get starvation. This happened in Zimbabwe. This happened in the Soviet Union. So the government, they nationalized the farms, and then they set a fixed price, a fair price for how much wheat can be sold as. But the problem is that in order to create wheat, the farmer already needs to pay his own share. So for example, when I'm making the video right now, lettuce costs $10, 10 USD per lettuce. I know, it's insane, but it is what it is, right? And the reason for this is that the lettuce requires fertilizer, it requires the farmhand who puts the effort to make it, it requires the gas from the truck that takes it from the farm all the way to the market. So like all of these things are within the price of making the lettuce. And let's assume that it's $7 and the farmer makes $3 as a profit. Okay, now let's assume the government says, you know what, no, like the fair price is $5. Now, if you're the farmer, every time you sell a lettuce for $5 when it actually costs $7 to make, you lose $2 per lettuce. Like, this is worse than slavery. Like, you're actually paying money from your own pocket. You're putting yourself in debt every time you sell the lettuce. So what farmers did in the Soviet Union and in Zimbabwe, they stopped selling it. Because the farmers aren't the communists, okay? They're not mentally challenged. And they realized, it's like, okay, if I keep selling it, I'm going to have to eventually sell my house as well. So they stopped selling it, and then the government says, oh, look, the greedy farmers are hoarding food. So they nationalize the farms, and then they give the farms to their friends, and they use nepotism, which ends up having the farms under ineffective management, which leads to starvation. Okay, this is why if you look at history, all the famines that happened throughout human history, almost every single one, we're talking about major famines, it's either done by empires. So you have like the British Empire taking control of an island and then draining it of resources and the people there starve. But like all of us agree that's bad and horrible and shouldn't be done. Or the other way you can have famines is because of Marxists. Like a nation goes through communism and then you have famines. The worst famine in human history was during the Great Leap Forward in socialist China. Right? So this is why it happens. It's not because, oh, it was a bad year. It was a plague of locusts, although in communist China it was, because they also decided to kill the sparrows. But what I'm trying to say is that it's predictable. Like every single time you have socialists taking power, you get to famine. And this is the steps through which you get to famine. Now, after ineffective management and you get starvation, well, you will notice that people in general are very complacent. So you can do pretty much whatever you want to people until there is no food on the table. You know, like an army marches on its stomach, so too does an unruly mob. The moment people don't have food on the plate is the moment they go outside. So when this happens, you get unrest and protest. You get the Tiananmen Square, you get people on the street demanding their rights. And what they actually demand is freedom. So what does freedom mean? It means economic freedom. It means none of this bullshit anymore, right? They don't want to pay 50% taxes. They don't want to be told what to do and how to have their businesses. They want to be left the fuck alone. You know, Karl Marx was absolutely right. He talked about how if capitalism keeps going, it's going to become a very corrupt system. And it's going to end the point of late-stage capitalism where the workers are going to become class consciousness and they're going to go out on the street. But the thing where Karl Marx was wrong is that he thought that the workers are going to demand equality. In reality, they're going to demand freedom. They want all this bullshit to go away. Leave them the fuck alone. That's what people want. Leave the free market alone. Honestly, like some of the best economists in the world are literally like a doll with a string that when you pull the string, they go like, leave the free market alone, leave the free market alone. But like no one wants to hire them in government positions. No one wants to give them any power because it's like, imagine paying a person that's like, okay, so we have a problem. What do we do? Leave the free market alone, right? Like, no. So instead they hire the Keynesians, which are a lot more elaborate, and they use beautiful words when they speak. And they also justify why the government can actually do all of this, and this is good. So anyway, after you have unrest and protest, now you need tyranny to suppress the unrest and protest. So you need authority. Okay? And now that you have authority, it's not real socialism, mate. It's not real fucking socialism. The Soviet Union is not a socialist state because it's got authority. China is not a socialist state because it's got authority. All these nations, they have authority. It's not socialism. Socialism is without authority. And rise and repeat. You know, like maybe, just maybe, I think like the only way this system can work is if it's worldwide. Like if every single country in the world is going to do this, then the rich people will not be able to leave. So you're going to trap them in the fucking gulag of eternity, and maybe, just maybe then, either the system will work, which I doubt, or you're going to find a new ways of fucking it up that humanity hasn't seen before. And we're going to all be astonished. So yeah, this is why socialism doesn't work. Thank you for watching.